Hello? Hello? One, two, three. Hello? Okay. Looks like the mic is working now. Let me try. Sorry, I really should have got this all figured out before I started streaming. But I mean, Oh, yeah. Okay. Properties. Let me see here. Built-in microphones. All that is. Okay. All right. It's fine. At least we have sound. It looks like. Um, and this is just for just to show that anytime I go out, I am wearing a face mask. Shoot. Oh man, I have to go to the bank to make a deposit, and I'm not sure if that's gonna work. You know what? Let me actually do this instead. Okay, please check the video resolution. Okay. All right. Hey, what's up, Crystal? Crystal LaCroix is here. What's up, Pauline? All right. So let me see if I can plug this in instead, and that way the sound will be a little better. I hope. Let's see here. First of all, how are you guys doing? Crystal, are you okay? Are you safe? You feeling okay? Man, I hope everyone's staying healthy. I've been quarantined, self-quarantined since Tuesday last week. Crystal, thank you. You too. I am staying safe. Especially because I have an older brother who recently got a kidney transplant last year, late last year, so it was very recent. And my brother is here. It's like I do this without even thinking. I notice that a lot. I touch my beard a lot. I fondle it, just too much. I need to keep my hands on. And I walk around with hand sanitizer now. I mean, literally, my lifestyle has changed. The way I behave. I got Clorox wipes in my room. Okay. So, anyways, all right. I've been quarantined since last Tuesday. The only time I leave my house is when I walk my dogs. Today, it's been raining all day. It's really yucky outside, so I let my dogs out in the backyard. I hang out with them back there, but they don't really like going out in the rain. So I went on the treadmill though, and oh my goodness, just I'm out of shape, baby. Anyways, I don't know why I keep saying baby. I gotta stop that. I gotta stop that, baby. Anyways, Crystal, don't wear that to the bank. Probably. Well, Crystal, I was actually thinking, I was cracking up to myself because when I go to the bank, I'm gonna have this mask on because because I don't want to spread it. Just in case I have it, I don't want to accidentally spread it without knowing because they say that the incubation period is up to 14 days, up to 2 weeks. So, when I do go to the bank, when I finally work up the courage to, actually go out in public, when I go to the bank, I'm going to have this on. I have gloves I'm going to wear. I have this hoodie, this hat that Lexi, awesome. She's a friend of mine now, but, she was YouTube. She was one of my fans on YouTube. Probably not a fan anymore because she became a friend. And once she got to know me better, she probably thought to herself, what in the hell am I doing looking up to this guy? Anyways, she made this hat for me. She crocheted it. Awesome. Or knitted it. Is it knitting or crocheted? Anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna cover up and I'm gonna go into the bank like that. I'm gonna bust into the bank like that. Because I'm in a hurry. I'm not gonna do it to, be to scare anybody. I'm gonna be in a hurry. I wanna go in and out, rush in and rush out. So I'm gonna kick the door open. Bam! Just kick the door open, run in there, and be like, everybody stay calm. We're here to make a deposit. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get arrested because the times we live in, it's uncertain times. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, they're going to be like, yeah, of course this guy's going to act like this, run in here with the mask. Corona. Anyways, Crystal says, we're all well and good. Thank goodness, Crystal. Grooming Tales Pet Salon closed business, laid off five employees. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that, Grooming Tales. I'm sure it was a very difficult decision for you to make. Me too. And I just have to be honest. I'm not on a pedestal here. Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm on a soapbox or I'm trying to preach to anyone. Like, like look at me as an example. I stopped my business. You should stop your business. I don't want to come across that way. I don't want to judge anyone for the difficult decisions they're making, either to close down their business or to continue running their business. Either way, it's your choice. And I just got to be honest, at the risk of maybe upsetting some people, because I'm doing house calls and I'm going to individual homes and and I'm making sure, well, when I was still making house calls last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I would call them first, ask them how they're doing. Do you have a cough? What's going on? And I would tell them I have a brother whose immune system is compromised. I have to be careful. And a few of them told me that they are sick. One of my clients told me that they went to New York City. They came back with a cough and they're not feeling well. I told them, thank you so much. And they told me, you can still come if you want. It's your call. I told them, no, absolutely not. Shoot. I'm not going there. Anyways, if my brother was not living with me and it was just me and my kids aren't with me, my kids are safe in Tennessee with their mom. If because it's just me and my dogs, and if it was just me and my dogs, I should say, and I wasn't living with my brother, I probably would still be doing my house call business, just on an individual, case by case basis. And the honest answer is, I it is partly because I don't like disappointing people. I hate letting people down. It's just one of the character flaws I have. I care too much about what people think, and so that bothers me. I don't like letting people down, especially when I feel like I have the ability to not let people down. So that is part of it. But when I really get super honest with myself, is it really because of the service to the client? And I mean, yeah, I don't want to let them down. I do want to help them out with their dog, but no dog is going to die because they didn't get groomed 1 month, If we skip a month of grooming, it's not like the dog is going to die. So it's honestly, the honest answer would be because I could use the money because, bills, I got all these bills set up and, it would be out of the fear of not having enough money to pay my bills. That would be the reason why I would be going out. And if it was just myself and I didn't have somebody living with me who has a compromised immune system due to a recent organ transplant, then I can't say for sure that I would still be making the same decision I am now. So all I'm saying is that this is my decision that I'm making for my unique situation. And I feel like we all have to just make the best decision that we can for ourselves and trust that others are doing the same. And right now in the grooming industry, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of people putting other people down. Not that that wasn't there before. It was kind of always like that in the grooming industry. But I think this whole coronavirus and all the uncertainty and the fear surrounding it is really exposing the problems that were already there in the grooming industry. Just not being able to agree, not being able to respect someone else's decision, putting people down, telling people how they should be, what kind of decision they should be making. And I really don't like the word should. And anytime someone uses the word should, you should do this, you should do that. I usually like to say like, hey, don't shit all over me. Why are you shitting all over me? The better word to use is could. You could do this. You could consider this. And you're just making a recommendation. You're not telling someone what to do. But yeah, so I actually was playing it by ear, and I told all my clients actually that this coming week, the rest of this week, I told them all, let's just play it by ear. And this morning, oh, not this morning, just about an hour or two ago, about an hour ago is when I texted everybody for this week, and I just let them know that here's how I worded it. If anybody wants to use the wording that I used. Here's how I worded it. If anyone's looking for ideas, if you have a grooming business and you're needing to cancel the appointment or postpone the appointment is a better word. I said, "Hi, so and so. Hi, President Obama. How are you and your family holding up? I hope you're well. With a heavy heart, I've decided to cease grooming until things settle down. By the looks of it, it's only getting worse by the day. I hope you understand, but I can't risk getting my brother sick. He had a kidney transplant recently. I hope you understand. And I put the thank you emoji, the praying hands emoji. So that's what I wrote to my clients. And just for example, what this person told me, oh my gosh, June, it's a scary time. We have been self quarantining for 8 days now. I have asthma, so I completely understand. Let's touch base soon. Stay well. We will miss you in the meantime. And so I replied back to her. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to read. um, but yeah, so that's what I told my clients. I just let them know, I hope, first of all, I hope you're doing well. Secondly, I've decided not to continue grooming until things settle down, because every day it seemed okay. So I downloaded this app called Newsbreak just to stay current with everything going on, and they have a special tab here, a special section made it doesn't show, made just for the coronavirus. And I've been following, the numbers and the stories coming out. And here's something to note. Here's something. Oh, wait, let me get to some of these comments here. Melissa the groomer. Hey, what's up, Melissa? Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. I've been inside for almost 2 weeks only. Only left yesterday for the vet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Melissa, I'm sorry. I saw, why you had to go to the vet. Man. Crystal says, we're staying home as much as possible. Been home from work since last week. Me too, Crystal. I hear you. Melissa the groomer, June will need bail money. Busting it to the bank, yeah, right. I'll even make a finger gun. I need to make a deposit. Which one of you? Which one of you wants to take my deposit? um, and then you'll see the next post from me. Like I'll tweet it out. Can someone bail me out? Pauline says, haha, looking like a cool ninja. Thank you. Because I used to be a ninja, but that's a long story. Kevin Lockamy says, you and Go Groomer at the same time. Haha, decision. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. First of all, Amy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stream at the same time. I actually saw her video pop up while I was like getting this already. I was like, that's right, it's Monday. Shoot. But I really didn't expect other groomers, to watch this, but and I did want to make this for my clients as well, just so for the clients that are scheduled next week and in April, um, you know, just to let everyone know what's going on with my business. With if you're a client of mine, um, let's see here, Crystal Croy, thinking about just quitting work and set up during this stuff, going on to groom from home after this stuff is over. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for all of us to kind of reconsider different business models, because it seems like after this is all over, everything's going to change. It has to, right? Um, hey, what's up, Jessica Anderson? Jessica Anderson in the house. Melissa says, I only close because of my son. Exactly, exactly. But I also have a lot of elderly clients, so I don't want to risk that either. Exactly. So one of my clients, she actually is a little older, and when I texted her that Wednesday, I can't. Harley, you guys know Harley, the Yorkie. I would love to go groom Harley. We're friends, but I just can't risk it because of my situation. But she told me that she's actually in the hospital. She had a back surgery and she's recovering. Can you imagine being in the hospital right now with all of this going around? So, yeah, here's another. Oh my God. So, one of my friends, she has a grooming shop up in near Helen, Georgia, North Georgia Mountains area. One of her friends, her 97-year-old grandmother, had a stroke a couple days ago in the morning. They took her to the ER. And again, I'm I'm relaying this to you to the best of my memory of what I read from her Facebook post. But they took her grandmother, 97-year-old grandmother, to the emergency room because she had a stroke. No family member was allowed in. So they admitted the grandmother, of course, because she had a stroke and she's 97 years old. But no one was allowed in there with her. So and then they had one contact person at the hospital that they were calling as like a go-between to relay messages. Of course, that person's busy, you know. And so then they get a call later that night that she passed away, and nobody was allowed, no family member was allowed in the room with her. Can you imagine how, man, I gotta stop touching my face. But can you imagine how terrible that must be? To be dying in a hospital room and you don't have any of your family members in there with you? And the worst part is they can't even have a funeral for her, you know? So it's, this is very serious. This is very serious stuff. And I don't want to make light of it. I know I joke around, but that's how I have dealt with difficult situations my whole life. Being picked on, bullied, and everything. I would just joke. I would make jokes out of it. Especially because I remember one time in my kindergarten graduation, um, it was a graduation, but my mother, being fresh off the boat from Korea and not speaking English very well back then, she thought we were taking a trip to Great Adventure. And I can understand graduation can sound like Great Adventure, but in New Jersey, Six Flags is called Great Adventure. Six Flags Great Adventure. Disney World. It felt like Disney World back then, but to go to Great Adventure. So they gave me this Great Adventure shirt, and I think I had pink, neon pink, hot pink shorts, because when you when you're as manly as I am, even at that young age, at kindergarten, I was such a man. I could pull off pink shorts. But anyways, I go to the kindergarten graduate, and this. The thing is, I don't really recall a lot of my childhood memories, but this I remember clearly. This is how much of it had an effect on me. So here I am, and we're driving to my school, and I'm telling my mom, Mom, I don't think it's Great Adventure. I think it's graduation. She's like, no, it's Great Adventure. She's like, and I got all these clothes for you. So we're walking to we saw all these people. We go to the parking lot. All these people, all these the parents, and the kids even are dressed up in suits, nice dresses. I'm like, I have a Great Adventure T-shirt on and pink shorts. Uh, what's going on, right? I mean, and my friends are rocking these two-piece suits. Like what? Like I remember one kid he had a three-piece on. What? In kindergarten, you had a three-piece suit on? I'm like, what? Anyways, I remember the look on my teacher's face, and I think she saw the look on my face, and I think she knew this was not intentional. And I just remember standing on stage, and back then in the 80s, we didn't have these nice digital phones or anything, where you could take pictures silently. They had these big flash boxes that you stuck on top of your camera. So every time someone would take a picture, poof, it was like poof. You would see these flashes, poof, poof, poof. So I'm looking out into the audience, and I'm like shaking. I'm so embarrassed because I'm the only one sticking out like a sore thumb with hot pink shorts on. And I see these pictures being taken, poof, poof, poof. I'm like, oh. Somewhere out there, there's pictures floating around of my kindergarten graduation. I don't have a single picture of it. I think we burned them. I think we purged them. But somewhere out there, people have hard copy photos of a little Asian boy in hot pink shorts, baby. Anyways, and so I remember thinking, I think it was that moment in kindergarten. I remember looking out into the audience, people laughing at me, people pointing at me. I remember the kids even that I was on stage with all laughing at me. And I remember thinking, there's no possible way I can kick all these people's asses. I was like, let alone all these kids on the stage, I mean, there's no possible way I can kick everyone's ass, right? And I wanted to. And then I thought to myself, I need to develop a sense of humor. But anyways, all my life, ever since then, I think that's just the way I dealt with things. Just make a joke about it. Just laugh about it, right? And so I don't want anyone to think that I'm not taking the situation seriously. It's just that I tend to joke around in inappropriate times, and sometimes I can't hold in my laughter. I remember one time I was at a post office, and this guy standing in line had Tourette's, and I'm towards the back of the line. He's like a little more towards the front, and he would like move like that and go like that, and I was just like, don't laugh. I just told myself, don't laugh, because and nobody on the line was laughing either. I mean, and everybody was just kind of like, everybody understood he has Tourette's, he can't control it, right? But I just found it so funny, and I was just like, I just kept trying to think of something serious, right? And he did it again, and I was like, don't do it. I was like, don't laugh, right? And here he goes again, and I was like, oh, I was like, think about my mom spanking me, think about my dad talking down to me, like. And so then he goes up to the counter, right? And the lady at the counter, the cashier at the post office, she says, what can I do for you today? He goes, nah. And I lost it. And I started cracking up. Everybody looks at me like I'm some terrible, horrible person. And I probably am. I mean, I should have been able to control myself. But I started cracking up, like laughing, right? And I couldn't help it. And so then I ran out of the post office because I felt like an asshole. And I got in my car and I just let it out. I just let myself laugh hysterically. And I left. And I was like, I could just come back later. And I did. I went back like the next day. But man, I just, that's just who, how I've always been, I guess. So I just don't want anyone to take offense to me joking around or laughing. It's just how I cope. Um, Even when my YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel, when it was starting to get pretty big and like, well, in my opinion, I know it's a baby channel. 25,000 subscribers is nothing. To the bigger channels, of course. But to me, 20,000 subscribers, like what? But yeah, so I would make me feel uncomfortable, and so I would just joke around about how famous I am and things like that. And I know that turns some people off, but it's just how I handled it. Anyways, um, let's see here. Crystal LaCroix, okay, I read that. Okay, read that. Um, Jessica Anderson says, I closed because my daughter has asthma. Jessica, I respect that so much. Oh my God. Because yeah, if my daughters were here, oh yeah, I would not be going out. And I know that children are not affected, but still, why take the chance with your kids? Natalie Smith, I'm struggling to figure out what to do with my salon. I'm anxious being there every day, and I feel like I don't want to be out, but I don't know if it's time to close yet. Natalie, what I would suggest is go with your gut. What is your gut telling you? Because our gut usually, has our back. Our gut is usually looking out for our best interest. So what is your gut telling you? What is your gut feeling? And go with that. Nobody can tell you what's right or wrong, what you should do. You have to assess the situation, take inventory of what's going on in your life, in your unique situation, and you have to make the best decision for yourself. I don't think it's anyone's right or privilege or job, or I don't think it's anyone's duty to tell other people what they should be doing when it comes to their business, because that's someone's source of income. And I just don't know. And okay, so what I would like to do is maybe just share a few facts, just share a few numbers, and maybe that will help because again, there's a lot of misinformation going out there, being spread around. There's a lot of narrative, people interpreting things and unnecessarily causing more fear and anxiety because we're already scared. And then when you add uncertainty on top of fear, now you can cause these panic behaviors. And so I don't want to share any stories that are scared they're going to scare people or anything. I just want to share some numbers because these are the numbers coming in that have been verified, and I just want to share this. So let's just go back. Today's the 22nd. Let's just go back 5 days from now. Or, you know what? Let's go back 6 days. Let's go back 7 days. We'll go back 1 week. 7 days ago, March 15th, there was 3,802 cases in the United States. And that was an additional 759 cases from the day before. And there was only there was 69 deaths as of March 15th. Those were the numbers. 3,802 confirmed cases on March 15th. Let's go the next day. 4,727 cases the next day. 2 days later, 5,798. So in 2 days, we went from 3,800 to 4, no, what was 17th? 5,798. So almost double, right? 2 days later, 2 days after the 17th, let's go to the 19th. So on the 17th, there was 5,798. Let's just say 5,800, just to make it even. So 5,800 on the 17th. 2 days later, 12,160. More than doubled. 2 days. So it seems like every 2 days it's doubling or more. 2 days. So that was the 19th, 3 days ago. 2 days after the 19th, just yesterday, 26,512 cases. That's 8,726 more cases than the previous day, than the 20th. So on the 19th, we had 12,160. 2 days later, 26,512, more than doubled 2 days later. Now, the 21st, 22nd, and the 23rd. No, okay, so today's the 23rd. Okay, so that's perfect, actually. So the 21st was 26,512, right? Let's just say 26,500 to make it easy. 2 days later, today, the number is 42,231, almost double. So I think that's the reality of the situation. And I've been tracking these numbers per state. New York City is now 20,875 cases. 20,875 cases in New York. And Georgia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is number 10. Georgia kept going back and forth between number 9 and then number like 12. It was Texas and Massachusetts that was like kind of back and forth, but now we're number 10 at 772 cases. 25 deaths in Georgia. But that's the thing, it's like every single day. So then that's just the US. Let's look at it on a global scale. The global, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to look at that. That is crazy. Sobering. Okay, so just so you know why I'm sharing these numbers, that it seems like every 2 days the number is doubling. So right now we have, what was the number? Right now we have 42,231 cases. That means 2 days from now, if the pattern continues, then 2 days from now, on the 25th, on Wednesday, the 25th, we're going to have roughly an estimate around 84,000 cases by the 25th, in 2 days from now. So today, the governor of Georgia announced that all the bars, all the clubs, all of those places, mandatory shutdown. They're banning all of those places as of today. I remember I actually crashed one of my friend's live streams, Miguel from Delilah's Pet Salon, and he's in New York City. And he told me during that live stream that the National Guard, the Army, are on the ground, are on the streets as we speak now. And he's saying that today, as of today, if you're walking around on the streets, then there are people taking your temperature. It's that serious. Okay. So Natalie, I just wanted to share the numbers of how quickly this is spreading, only to allow you to make a more informed decision. I'm not going to tell you either way what you should do. You need to make the best decision that you can, but let it be an informed decision, not an emotional decision, as much as possible. I know, I mean, how can you really shut your emotions off, right? In a time like this where we're feeling it. And the best way is to just admit it, call it out. I'm feeling anxious. And now all of a sudden the anxiety starts to lose its power over you just by calling it out, just by calling attention to it. It seems to, like cockroaches, you turn on the light, they scatter. It's like that. So if you just keep, like trying to ignore it, I'm not anxious, it's like it keeps building because you're not observing it. So they say that the only way out of anxiety is through. And that makes so much sense. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling these emotions, allow yourself to feel it, notice it, recognize it, label it even. And then as you observe it, it starts to go away. It starts to move through you because there's a book. I don't want to talk about it. That's what it's called. It's called I Don't Want to Talk About It, and it's about male depression and things like that. And he was saying, what did he say? I can't remember the exact way, so I'm going to paraphrase it. He was saying that what did he say? Like if we ignore it, it freezes, but by feeling it, it flows. And so he's saying when we allow ourselves to feel the depression or the anxiety or the fear, whatever it is, or the sadness, don't deny it or ignore it or try to avoid it. Because when you do that, he's saying it freezes and it's there forever. It's always going to be there to torment you. But if you allow it to flow through you, then you feel all of the feelings, you allow it to run its course through your body, and then you allow it to go. You let it go. Allow yourself to let those feelings go. But that's the thing, you have to go through it. The only way out of it is through. Okay. Let's see here. Crystal LaCroix says, my husband works in a shipyard of 8,000 and they have an official confirmed case there. And he has to go back to work because we need the money. They refuse to close. It's so scary. Crystal, uh, that's a really tough situation. I mean, I'm hearing a lot about this. So one of my friends up in Gainesville, um, she felt sick. She said she had the flu-like symptoms, but she's saying she thinks she's fine. She's gonna just push through it because her work, her job, will not pay her any sick leave or anything like that unless she goes and gets a test and shows them a positive test for the COVID-19. The only problem is, I'm not sure if the situation has changed since I talked to them last week, but at that time, there was nowhere they could go and get a test. So they told their employee that. And because her husband has asthma and he called off of work because he was sick. And she was saying that he must have really felt bad because he never calls off work. His employer said the same thing. You can stay home, but you're not going to get paid. You're not going to get any sick pay or anything like that unless you go and get tested and you show us a positive result. And so they called around. No doctor is allowing people to come in. And a lot of places they called didn't even have the testing. And so they told their employers that. They're like, it's not that easy to just go and get tested. And their employer said, yeah, it is. And then their employer talked to a friend of theirs that works with the Piedmont healthcare system. And then the employer texted them back and said, yeah, you're right. It's not that easy to get tested. And I'm not sure if that has changed from last week to this week because the situation is just ever changing. It seems like by the hour the situation is changing. So I'm not sure if it's still the case where it's really difficult to get tested. But here's another crazy thing. Somebody that my ex knows in Tennessee, he had a cough. Well, he was sniffling and sneezing, and he told his employers it's just allergies. I feel fine. It's a pollen. It happens every year around spring. It's like, come on, I have allergies. They're like, we can't risk it. You got to go get tested. If you test negative, then you're welcome to come back to work. So he lives in the part of Tennessee where it just got hit with the tornadoes, and so a lot of the places weren't even open. So he found an urgent care center that he could go to and get tested. He got there. He started at 6 in the morning looking for places. He got to this urgent care. I'm not sure what time he got to the urgent care facility. He didn't get out of there until after 6 p.m. So I think he put it on Facebook or something. My wife was telling me, or my ex-wife was telling me. He said that if I didn't have the coronavirus before, I sure have it now. Isn't that crazy? Like, where was the logic in that? This man, why didn't they just let him stay home and maybe figure out a way to work from home or something? Why did they demand he get tested, and then if it shows up that he's negative, then he can come back to work? But he was in a room full of people waiting to get tested till after 6 p.m. He spent all day and evening in there. If he didn't have it before, he's right. He sure has it now. Like, oh my goodness, this whole situation.
I think it's exposing the greed that a lot of employers have. Even people panic shopping, buying all the toilet paper, buying all the meat. There's a couple in Canada right now. I read this story. A boyfriend and girlfriend went to their local grocery store, bought all the meat, wiped it out, and they were bragging about it and laughing about it. How they didn't leave any for anybody else. They cleaned house, and people were putting them on the video. They were showing them on social media, and he even put it on his own social media. They were laughing and bragging, and now they're getting death threats from their community, and he's scared for his life, and he's asking for police protection. And here's what they said. They said that we may have gone overboard, but we weren't mean to anybody, and we weren't pushing. But when I read the report, and the people that were witnesses there, and the employees at the store, they said they were shoving people. They were pushing people out the way to get there, and they were laughing about it. They were bragging, and it's even on his social media. He probably took it down now, but people saw it, and now he's getting death threats from his community, from the people in his community. And I think that a lot of times we can, when we're not like, the extremely wealthy, right? It's easy to point fingers, and during normal times where it doesn't expose our own greed. It's easy to point the finger and say, how could these big CEOs act like that? How could they be so inconsiderate of the needs of others and only consider themselves? How could a human being act like that? Well, now we're finding out it's not just the super rich. It's everybody. It doesn't matter what income level you are. It's almost like when you're in fear and uncertainty mixed together, we panic, and then it brings out the worst in our human nature. It seems like, and I think this whole situation is exposing that. But I don't think that it's such a bad thing, because just like when I go to Toastmasters and I make a speech, and then they evaluate my speech and they tell me things that I didn't even know that I was doing wrong, and things that I can do better and improve on. How could I have ever known, and how could I have ever improved if they're not willing to point out the things that I'm not doing well, right? So perhaps instead of looking at the situation and saying, look how terrible people are, we can look at it and say, aha, this is a part of our primal nature. This is part of our animalistic nature. Maybe it's time for us to evolve past this. Let's take a hard look at ourselves and try to understand why we behave that way. Why are we fighting in the grocery stores over toilet paper? At Sam's Club here in Georgia, one of the Sam's Club, they got in a fight over the groceries, and one person hit another person with a wine bottle, broke it over the person's head. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think that this is allowing us to drop the judgment, stop judging others, because Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. Our opinion of the world, most people, this is the quote, most people are unaware that our opinion of the world is also a confession of our character. So maybe the people who are so angry with the big time CEOs acting so greedy, hoarding all that money and all the, maybe that upsets them so much because that's a part of themselves that they hate the most, and they recognize it in someone else. And now, because this has been revealed to us in such an obvious way, maybe we can take a hard look at ourselves and say, I choose not to give in to fear and panic, and I choose to behave in a way that is considerate towards my fellow man, human beings, not just man, but, anyways, let me stop preaching here. Melissa the Groomer, almost 200 cases in my county in Arizona, America. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Melissa says, I put socks on my son's hands to get him to quit sucking his fingers. Melissa, talking about touching your face. Yeah, being that it was like 10 minutes ago at this point. Crystal says, both my girls have asthma, and I just got custody of them back right before all this stuff started and got bad. I'm scared they will get sick. Wow. Crystal, first of all, I'm so super happy for you that you got custody of your girls. You got your girls back. Super happy for you. Um, Now, to the other point, I'm scared they will get sick. Um, because they say that our thoughts become things, right? They're saying that our thoughts are powerful. So instead of saying, because they say that where your focus goes, energy flows. So instead of saying what you don't want, um, you could say what you do want. So instead of saying, I'm scared they will get sick, perhaps you could say, I am confident that they will stay healthy in my care. Something like that. But instead of saying things that you don't want, for example, instead of saying like, "Oh God, I hope I don't get fat," you know, I hope I don't get fat. Instead of saying that, because I was laying in bed, eating, snacking, because I was stress eating, and I was just thinking to myself, "Oh my God, I hope I don't get too fat." And then I caught myself, and then 2 days ago, I exercised. Yesterday I did my legs. Today I went on the treadmill because it's raining outside. I went on the treadmill, but instead of thinking, "Oh, I don't want to get fat," I changed it to thinking, how can I stay fit? How can I stay healthy? So instead of thinking, I don't want to get fat, fat is the main point, is what I'm focusing on, right? Not being fat. And so instead of thinking about what I don't want, change it to thinking, how can I stay healthy while I'm quarantined? Oh, I can exercise in my room. I can use my pull-up bar. I can do push-ups. I can do sit-ups. Oh, like I can do planks. I don't need to go to the gym. And so they say that when you ask yourself a question, your brain goes to work to find an answer. That's just how our brain works. So if you ask yourself something like, why am I so unlucky? Why do things like this always happen to me? Your brain goes to work to find an answer. And it'll say, well, it's because these kind of things always happen to people like you. You're unlucky, which is so disempowering. The more empowering way to think about it is, instead of saying, why do things like this always happen to me? You can turn it around and you can think, how can I use this to prove how resilient I am? How can I use this situation to, for my benefit? How can I turn this situation around and really grow from it, and things like that? And I'm just using examples, and I'm not telling you how to live your life, but just, these are things that help me, because I grew up with a very negative Nancy mentality, and I would just my brain would always play out the worst case scenarios, which is why I think I suffer from anxiety so much in my whole life, because I would always play out the worst case scenario. And instead of doing that, I had to teach myself, and I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. It's a practice. You never really master it, I don't believe. And that's just my opinion, but it's a practice for me. And every time I catch myself going down that road, I now try to change it, and I actively work to get my mind to work on a more productive problem. So instead of thinking, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I hope I don't lose all my business. I hope I don't lose. I hope I don't go in debt." Things like that. It's better just think, okay, I probably am going to go in debt. That's just the reality of the situation. I'm probably going to go in debt because I don't have any income coming in. I'm staying home. I'm not going out to work. So I probably will go in debt. Okay, well, what can I do? What are some things that I can do to, you know, to get through this situation better? I can call my utility companies. I called my gym actually and asked if I could freeze my account. Things like that. I can be proactive. I don't have to just sit and let things happen to me and feel like I'm a victim. I can start to take control of my life and use this opportunity to do so. Um, let's see. Natalie Smith, thank you, June. Your words help in this hard time. My gut says close. Natalie, you gotta go with your gut. You gotta go with your gut. I mean, mo- sometimes people will lead you down the wrong path, because and unintentionally, even if it's someone with great intentions, they really want to help you. Like me, I really do want to help people. But because I don't know all of the details and I'm not living your life, I have no right to tell you one way or the other. You have to listen to your gut, because if I tell you that I think you should close, or I think you should still, take clients, I'm only telling you what I think is best based on my past experiences and my personal biases. And so even though I am telling even if I give you advice with the best intentions, it could lead you down the wrong path. But your gut has been with you your whole life. Your gut knows you the best. And your gut, your subconscious, I should call it, knows all of the little details and everything, and it's thinking about things that you're not even aware of. So when your gut tells you to do something, it usually won't lead you astray. Melissa the Groomer, 23rd, but close enough. Yeah, it is the 23rd. Um, oh man, Melissa's crying. I'm sorry, Melissa. I'm not trying to make anyone scared or cry. I just wanted to share what I am doing with my business, give my clients an update. I'm no longer grooming. I'm no longer making house calls. I canceled all my appointments for the rest of the week. I'll probably do so, reach out to my clients for schedule for the next week in April. But this is also for the people for my clients who do follow my social media, just to let them know where my head's at, how I'm coming to this decision, and also just share some of my thoughts and my experience of how I'm coping with my fears and anxiety being locked in my house. Self-imposed, of course. This is self-voluntary quarantine, but it's cabin fever is a real thing. And if you're not used to, like me, if I'm not used to staying at home all day like this, it's new to me. And 2 days ago, the reason why I decided to start exercising was because I was about to have a panic attack, and I recognized it. I remembered, like, oh yeah, this is how I felt like at the store when I lost control of my body. I started shaking uncontrollably, and I remember like trembling. It felt like trembling at first, like a tremble that I couldn't control, like a nervous shakiness I couldn't control. That's how it started, and then it started to get worse and worse. And then, especially as my thoughts kept entertaining worst case scenarios, because that's what our brain does. It thinks that it's helping us. Our brain thinks that it's protecting us by giving us all of the worst case scenarios, playing them out. But it's not. It's not helping us at all. It's making us feel more anxious. Anyways, now that I've been through all of that and I've read books about the topic and I have more knowledge, they say when you know better, you can do better. I caught myself before I started to get to the point of no return, where I collapse, throw up on myself, and start sobbing uncontrollably. I knew that that's where I was headed, because that's what happened before when I was losing my shop and I was in severe debt. Because I think that when we go in debt, or when our income stops, it feels like, to me, because I watch a lot of outdoor survival shows and things like that. I'm just interested in things like that. But anyways, for me, the way I can compare it, it feels like being stuck out in the wilderness with no food or shelter. That's what it feels like. It feels like, oh no, I'm gonna die. That's what it feels like when your income stops. You still have food to eat, you still have water to drink, but for some reason, once we know, oh no, money's not coming in anymore, all of a sudden it feels like I'm stuck out in the wilderness with no shelter or no food, and I'm gonna die. That's what it felt like. And so that's what I think is happening to a lot of people right now who have never experienced something like that in the past. And this is the first time you're experiencing this. Yeah, you're gonna cry. You're gonna feel scared. Your whole body is gonna tell you you're dying. But the best advice I can give and this is not a doctor or a scientist telling you, so don't. It's probably not credible. Not probably. It's not credible. the only the only thing I'm saying is this is my experience and this is how I handled it. The best advice I can give you from my personal experience, which is very subjective, is notice it, recognize it, and then start to ask yourself questions. Start to ask yourself better questions, you know, and then get your mind to start working in a more productive way. You can ask yourself, am I really going to die though? And then your brain might say, Well, if there's no money coming in and I can't pay the bills and I can't buy food, of course I'm going to starve and die. And then you can ask yourself, today though? Is that going to happen today? Well, no, not today. I might last a few days. I guess I still have some food in the pantry I can eat. I guess I won't starve today, you know? And then you can start asking yourself, okay, well, if I'm not going to starve today, then that means I have today to start thinking of solutions, and I have a creative mind. I can start writing up solutions and pros and cons and things like that. I can, get a notepad out with a pencil and I start planning things. You can even start planning how you're going to rebuild your business after this is all over. Just accept the fact that your business is gone. Your business is it's done, right? And I know how scary that feels because I've done it before. I've had to shut my doors and I poured my heart and soul, sweat and tears, blood, sweat and tears, literally. I put everything into that place, and to have it, to watch it just close down, it was heartbreaking. But the faster you can accept the worst case scenario, the faster you can start working on productive solutions. So you can tell yourself, just because my business is done doesn't mean I'm done. I'm still going to be alive, and I still have my skills, my talents, my ability, as long as I remain healthy, which is why I suggest taking all the precautions necessary to make sure you have your health through all of this. You don't get sick. And then when you come through all of this, you're going to have to rebuild. So maybe you can use this downtime to start planning, like Crystal was saying. She's gonna start doing a home-based business after all this is over. And like in Crystal's case, she can sit down and start writing out, okay, step by step, what I need to do. Okay, well, I need to go ahead and get a business license. I need to register with the Secretary of State, and I suggest getting an LLC, filing for the LLC, limited liability corporation. Anyways, you can start listing real action steps that you can take to start rebuilding your business when this is all over. Um, let's see. Crystal says, keep in mind that many of these cases are because more tests are now available, so it will look like a bigger surge of cases than before that can spike the numbers. That makes sense, Crystal. That makes a lot of sense because, yeah, like I said, there wasn't a lot of testing available last week. So maybe things are changing now. We have more testing available in Georgia, and maybe that's why we're seeing the numbers jump. But to me, it makes sense that if the incubation period is 2 weeks, then that means that if somebody's showing symptoms today, they actually got it about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, because they're saying sometimes it's 5 to 6 days, but up to 14 days. So it's possible that they got it 2 weeks ago. That means 2 weeks ago, when they were not showing any symptoms and they felt fine and healthy, every person that they came in contact with is now at risk of having the virus. And I saw this Facebook post by one of my friends, and I won't say her name because she said that she doesn't want to debate, and she was like, "There's no need to comment on this. I just want you to think about it." And I wish I could give her credit for it. I just don't. I just don't know how comfortable she might feel if I draw attention to her. But I just wanted to say all that just to pre-qualify that I'm quoting someone else. This is someone else's idea. But she said, imagine that you were informed today that you have the coronavirus. Imagine that you are being told by someone, you get tested today, and for let's just say by a miracle, they get the results. Or you know what, more realistically, let me change the situation a little bit. Let's say you get tested today, and then 4 days later, you get the news that you're positive, you have the coronavirus, right? So think back, and let's just say that's today. You got the news today that you have coronavirus, that it came out positive. Think back 2 weeks from today, and think about all of the interactions and everything that you went out and did. This is the question she asked. Would you feel proud of your actions, or would you feel guilty? Would you feel regret? And that was something to think about. If I look back on my behavior the past 2 weeks, would I feel proud of myself, or would I feel ashamed? I think I would feel proud of myself because I was being careful and I contacted all my clients before I went. A few of them told me they're sick and they're not feeling well, so I didn't go. And I only went to the clients who said for absolutely sure they're healthy. I didn't even come in contact with those clients either. I just went in, groomed their dog, and I sent them an invoice. So for me, I think that I was taking it seriously from the beginning. Even when people were telling me that it's just a hoax and I'm letting the government control my behavior, I was like, maybe so. I told them, maybe you're right. And I've been wrong so many times in my life. This is just another occasion. This is just another time that I'm wrong. And I don't care. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being wrong. But I told them, if I'm gonna be wrong though, I would rather err on the side of caution. When this plays out 2, 3 weeks, a month or two from now, when this is all over, I would rather say, oh man, you got me. Shoot, I'm an idiot. You fooled me, right? You tricked me. Good one. I'd rather feel embarrassed about that. I'd rather feel foolish, look foolish for letting the government trick me. That's okay because being wrong on that way, it only affects me. I look foolish. I look dumb, right? But if I'm wrong the other way, where a month or two from now, I look back and I say, oh my God, I was wrong. I should have taken this more seriously. And now my brother's in ICU. You know, I can deal with the first embarrassment, being wrong and looking foolish. It only affects me. Who cares? I've embarrassed myself several times publicly, so it's all right. It stung the first few times, but now it's like, ooh, kind of feels nice. Anyways, but being wrong the other way and feeling guilty and regret because now others are affected, I couldn't live with that. So that's what I told him. I was like, you might be right, and I might be an idiot, but I'd rather be wrong on this way. I can live with that. Um, let's see. Jessica Anderson. Oregon is up to 191 cases. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jessica, let me just see if my app here is up to date. Oregon. Where's Oregon? Wow, it's nice and low down the list. Oregon. Where is it? 191. Wow. Okay, so yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like I want to constantly check this app because again, I want to make sure that the numbers I'm getting are reliable, but that kind of gives me a little bit of a reassurance that um I can trust these numbers to a certain point. But yeah, wow, Oregon is 191, and that's up 30 from yesterday, and there's 5 deaths there in Oregon. Wow. And the thing is, I don't want us to look at the numbers and say only 5. That's not only 5. Your only is somebody's everything. That could be somebody's mother. That can be somebody's sister. You know, that is someone's mother. That is someone's sister. That's someone's grandmother. You can't say it's only 5 people that died in Oregon. You have to say there have been 5 terrible, tragic deaths in Oregon. Um, it doesn't seem like much here, but most of the cases are in a general area. hmm And this is still Jessica Anderson. She said National Guard are doing that in Washington State now too. Uh-huh. Checking temperatures of people walking the streets. Um, Melissa the groomer says, last Friday my son had a cough. Okay, that's what she probably meant. My son had a cough and a fever. I called ahead to let them know, per rules of things I was supposed to do online. They told me to just bring him. Okay. We went in and they had us sit in a waiting room. All they did was a flu test. That came back negative, so they sent us home. They didn't take it seriously at all. Oh my goodness! So they didn't even test him for the corona. Oh my goodness! Because they're saying that the coronavirus is not the flu; it's completely different. So yeah, if they tested for the flu and the flu was negative, that doesn't mean that the coronavirus couldn't come out positive. Not to scare you, Melissa. I'm just saying that just seems like a real a kind of a. It seems like they dropped the ball on that one, right? Okay. Um, Crystal Coral, overbuying at this point is just sickening. Taking from those who need it more. Police in some areas are saying that they won't come to your aid. Keep themselves safe from this virus. Uh-huh. I heard that too. I heard that unless it's like a real like violent crime, life and death situation, that police are not coming out. So I guess now's a good time to pick a fight with my brother. No, I was kidding. My brother that I'm trying to keep safe. Going smack. By the way, the cops aren't coming for us just by getting in a fist fight. Anyways, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, Melissa. Oh, and here's the thing. I heard that there's been 8 arrests made in California. The people who were hoarding, buying all of the toilet paper and reselling it online for hundreds of dollars. So the police, the law enforcement. I don't know if it's the local cops or what, but the law enforcement, because it's illegal in California to do that, especially to sell necessities, things that are a necessity in an emergency situation. It's illegal. It's actually California law, and I'm pretty sure the people that were doing it didn't know that, and so that's why they were so bold and just put it online, selling toilet paper for hundreds of dollars. So what the law enforcement did was they contacted them on their platform where they're selling it. They arranged the meeting and arrested them like a sting operation. Can you imagine? They're going to jail. They're going to give them the full penalty, which they should. But could you imagine going to jail? Like, yo, what you in here for? I got caught in a sting operation. Oh, dude, really? What were you pushing? What were you slanging? Cocaine, heroin? Was it weed? Was it, what was it? Charmin, bro. I was pushing that Charmin. Know what I'm saying? Man, I got to be like, oh, what's Charmin? You mean is that like a slang term for a new drug? Like, nah, Charmin, fool. Charmin, the toilet paper. Shit, man. I got arrested for slinging Charmin, man. Like that would be the worst. That would be so embarrassing. You're in jail for slinging toilet paper. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, but I guess the guy would be like, well, it wasn't like I was singing Angel Soft. It's not like I was selling that bullshit. I was singing, I had that good. I had that Charmin, baby. I wasn't pushing no Bounty, no Angel Soft. This was Charmin we're talking about. Sure. But anyways, I just thought that was funny. But and also Costco and Kroger and a lot of grocery stores are not accepting refund. They're not refunding people for overbuying, panic buying the toilet paper. So it's just interesting what's going on. Melissa the groomer, this is a test from the universe, and we're failing. Well, the thing is though, there's nothing wrong with failing, right? A lot of times we learn more from our failures than our successes. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's good to fail, but in a way it is, because failure exposes our weaknesses and the things that we could work on and improve on, right? When I failed my business, I thought it was the worst thing in the world. I was embarrassed, but I realize now I learned a lot that I could have never learned without actually having gone through that experience. And now I know that if I ever chose to open up another retail spot, I'm pretty sure I won't fail the next one because of the lessons I learned from the failure from the first one. And the lessons, they stick because it hurt so much. So those lessons stick with you. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing that we're failing. I mean, of course, it would be awesome if everybody was sharing and caring and considerate, but that's just not our nature, right? That's not how we evolved, right? So now I think that by 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 becoming aware that we have these tendencies to overreact, to panic, and to act in ways that are inconsiderate to our fellow human beings, because now we have seen this in ourselves, I think now we can work on it. And now is our chance to, I guess, turn the tide, evolve beyond our primal nature. Maybe this is the time in our history we'll look back on and say that's when we learned that we have these tendencies and we were confronted with our own primal nature. And that's when we turned everything around and we became more enlightened. And we realized that we do affect one another that if I get sick, it may get someone else sick. And if that person's sick, they may get others sick. But if I'm doing well, that helps everyone else doing well. And if you're doing well, it's in my best interest that you stay healthy. I think that now we're going to start to realize that the law of integrity actually works. The law of integrity does not mean that I have integrity. The law of integrity means more integrated. We're all integrated. Right? It's a traditional Chinese medicine theory, and it's an ancient concept, but I think it applies here. What affects one affects the whole, and if one is not doing well, it affects all of us. If so, it's in our best interest that others do well. So, the more enlightened person actually roots for others. They feel genuine joy and happiness, and they celebrate with others when they do well because they realize, they understand that for one to do well, if one's doing well, the whole does well. Um, so, Melissa, I don't think that you're right. This may be a test from the universe. And yeah, you could say that we failed. We're failing. But maybe that's a good thing. If I had never joined Toastmasters and I never gave that first speech and I wasn't willing to take the feedback that came, how could I have ever improved speaking in public? It would have been easier just to kid myself and tell myself, "Oh, I'm fine. Rather than face the truth and accept that I have flaws, you know. And the first speech, I bombed it. I bombed. I failed. But it's a good thing I did because the advice that I got, the feedback that I got, it really helped. And my next speech was better. And the next one was better. And now I'm competing in an international speech contest for, in the Toastmasters. Like, wow. And people are telling me, some of the people who were judging the contest, they told me that they think that I have a contest winning speech. I just need to work on my presentation. Anyways, what I'm saying though is if we're not willing to fail, we'll never grow. Crystal LaCroix, I have to go. Thanks, June. Bye, Crystal. Thank you for joining us. Jessica Anderson says, such great advice on how to see things differently. Oh, thank you, Jessica. That's what happens when you fail over and over and over. You either die, you either end up in jail or dead, or you start thinking differently. It was out of necessity, Jessica. Melissa the Groomer, nope. They told us to get K, Motrin, and keep an eye on them. Well, Lee, what's up, Lee? Lee Rowley is in the house. So Lee is a dear friend of mine, and she has a slight crush on me. But that's okay. I told her, Lee, crush all you want. I'm kidding. She doesn't have a crush on me. Anyways, I don't know why I said that. But anyways, Lee, she has told me something that really helps when she's feeling anxiety and she feels like she's about to have a panic attack. She stomps her feet on the ground because that just helps ground herself. And that was like me exercising to get my mind off of it. You just have to somehow bring yourself back to earth. Melissa the Groomer, price gouging is very illegal. Yeah, not only illegal, it's unethical. Lee says, yes, there have. So glad they are cracking down. Yeah, yeah. I was kind of happy about that. Melissa the Groomer, thanks for the laugh. I needed it. Oh, thank you. Raquel's here. What's up, Raquel Grant? Kevin Lockamy. Wow, all of my old friends are coming. Shoot, let's hang out, right? Shoot, we're in quarantine. What else are we gonna do? Kevin Lockamy. In Florida, the state is setting up temporary sites in centralized parking lots for drive-through testing. Downside, all of Orlando is under an indefinite mandatory 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. So here in Georgia, I'm not sure if it's statewide, but a lot of counties, the county I'm in, has set a curfew 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 p.m., they don't want anyone out in the streets, and so yeah, they're saying 6 cities in like counties in Georgia have declared a state of emergency. Um, our mayor, she said that she wanted to shut down the state of Georgia. She wanted to declare a state of emergency for the state, but the governor told her not to, and he told her let's wait until they do the press conference at 5 o'clock earlier. And I read kind of like a synopsis, a little notes about what they talked about, and that seems to be the gist. They banned all nightclubs, bars, any of those places. They ordered them to shut down. Um, Lee Riley, we failed because we ignored the lessons of other countries who have dealt with this, and people are going to die needlessly unless we're looking to thin the herd. Uh huh. Yeah. And the thing is, I I've been hearing I've been seeing some comments online where, so the college students that everybody were, I mean, it upset me too. I felt like how irresponsible those college kids down in Florida on the beaches on spring break saying, if I get it, I get it, but I'm not going to let it stop me from partying. Like, wow, how irresponsible. But was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Five of those students have tested positive for coronavirus. That means we're about to see a lot more because I doubt those five were practicing social distancing, 6 feet. I doubt they were wearing masks. They weren't sanitizing their hands, like obsessively. They weren't doing these things. Probably. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I could just assume that they were probably hugging, high-fiving, doing all this stuff, maybe passing something around that's touching their mouth. I could just imagine because I know in college, you know, and so yeah, like people when that story came out that there was five tested positive, I was reading comments of people saying they deserve to die, they deserve to get it. I hope they die, things like that. Wow, I think that exposes another failing in our human nature. Why would you wish that on somebody? Yes, they behaved inconsiderately. Yes, it behaved extremely irresponsibly because they're college students. Like, so one of my friends, Nicole, she was telling me that she lives near, and this is in Pennsylvania, she lives near a college town. And because all the bars and nightclubs, and because they're all shut down, these college students are getting together in their houses and having house parties all day and night. And my first gut, my instinct, my reflex response was, how irresponsible. I wanted to feel upset that they're behaving that way. It's like, you don't see what's going on? You still think this is a hoax? You still think this is not a big deal? Why are you getting together in house parties? Like, but then I stopped for a moment and I asked myself, can I remember how I used to think and behave when I was 20 years old, when I was in college? And then I thought to myself, I can't judge them because if anything, some of those house parties would have been at my place, you know? So, because at 20 years, when I was in college, I wasn't thinking about all that. I was just looking to have a good time, just like these kids were saying. If I get it, I get it. I'm not going to let that stop me from partying. We hate in others what we hate in ourselves. You spot it, you got it. I had to come to terms with the fact that maybe I'm so upset with these kids because that's how I acted when I was their age. And I hate that about myself. And I feel embarrassed and ashamed. So now, instead of accepting that, it's easier to project it out onto others. Um, Lee, they don't deserve to die. No one does. Exactly. Right, Lee? They behaved like typical college students would behave. And yeah, it wasn't right. It wasn't considerate. It wasn't responsible. But they don't deserve to die for making a bad choice, right? Lee says, and the idea that they won't get sick is false. They are getting sick. Yes, yes, they are. So I was reading Okay, so I don't want to read to you guys, but you can look it up. The 32-year-old physician's assistant in New York who was admitted with the coronavirus March 2nd, he just got out. So that means 20 days he was in the hospital. And it ravaged his lungs. It tore up his lungs. And even though they tested him twice before they released him, and both tests came out negative. However, he is on oxygen support. And he said that there's a there's a portable oxygen machine that he has to carry around when he's walking around in his house because he's quarantined himself. His wife and child are staying with relatives. This is how careful he's being, even though he's negative. He's gotten over the coronavirus. He still has his child and his wife at a relative's place. His friends and family are cooking meals for him, hanging it on his door. He waits till they're gone, then goes out with a mask and gloves. Again, he's gotten over it. He's probably now has an immunity to it, but he's being this careful. And he gets it with gloves, mask after they leave. And he has to hook himself up to a bigger oxygen machine, oxygen tank, when he sleeps. And they're saying that he's hoping that his lungs will recover and he won't be dependent on oxygen for the rest of his life. 32 years old. He was healthy before he got it. No underlying or previous conditions. A healthy 32-year-old male. That's what happened to him. There's a 22-year-old female. And yeah, just looking at the cases, you have to look at what's going on, and young people can get it. And it can be devastating. Yeah, you might survive. You're not going to die. But this man is on oxygen for who knows how long, maybe the rest of his life. So I think that we do need to take this seriously, and we do have to realize that, okay, so there's a second case of a dog testing positive for the coronavirus. Oh man, I'm sorry, getting calls and messages. Oh, my goodness. When you get favorite, I'm not gonna. That joke is so played out now. Okay. But yeah, where is that story where another dog got tested? 2 years old. It's a German Shepherd mix, I believe they said. It's a German Shepherd mix, and it's in Hong Kong where they found it. Oh man, where is that story? Anyways, you can look it up. But there's been another confirmed case of a dog that tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, and the dog is 2 years old. It's a German Shepherd mix. They have the dog quarantined. But the thing is, the gentleman has coronavirus. He gave it to one of his dogs. He has another dog that they've quarantined as well, but that dog is testing negative. So we still don't know exactly how it's transmitting. And there's only 2 cases so far, so they're saying that the evidence so far does not suggest that that our pets can give it to us or we can give it to them. It's just these 2 unique cases right now. But the first one was a Pomeranian that was 17 years old, and they believe that the Pomeranian passed away from other health conditions that were already pre-existing before it tested positive before the dog tested positive for the coronavirus. Now this second dog, the 2-year-old German Shepherd mix, they don't really know right now how it transferred to that dog from this person. So right now we just have to keep looking at the evidence and not assuming things, not jumping to conclusions. But as of now, right now, there's no evidence to suggest that we could give it to our pets, or that our pets can give it to us. However, they're saying just to err on the side of caution, it might be best to not let your dogs lick you. Don't cough and pet them. If anything. So yeah, if anything, just try to keep a little distance. Practice social distancing from your dog, I guess. But that's hard to do because they're all over you, right? So yeah, right now it's just we just have to do the best we can with the information that we're getting. Let's see. Lee says, that's the thing. This is all new to us. We don't know all the consequences. Exactly. Lee says, what? I thought dogs didn't get it. That's what I thought too. You know what? let me Google it because I can't find it on that app. I read that story this morning. I'm going to put dogs test positive for corona. Okay. Here's the story. Second dog tests positive for coronavirus as owners warned not to abandon pets. Okay. Owner of quarantined German Shepherd was infected, but the dog showed no symptoms of the disease. The Hong Kong government, I said I was going to read to you guys, but I mean, just to give you the details that I got, the German Shepherd living in the Pak Fu, don't laugh. The German Shepherd living in the Pak Fu Lam area on Hong Kong Island was sent for quarantine along with another mixed breed dog from the same residence on Thursday after their owner was confirmed as being infected. This is the Agriculture, Fisheries, and Conservation Department, the AFCD, said in a statement. Though the shepherd tested positive for the virus, no such result was obtained from the mixed breed dog. Okay, so they have a German Shepherd and a mixed breed dog. So the German Shepherd test tested positive. The mixed breed is okay for now. The AFCD is adding that it will continue to monitor both dogs and conduct repeated tests on the animals. The new case comes after an elderly 17-year-old Pomeranian tested a week positive. So, but here's the thing. The Hong Kong Animal Welfare Authority stressed that there is currently no evidence that pets can be a source of the virus or that they can get sick from it. And this is a quote, under no circumstances should owners abandon their pets. Because I saw some news stories about people taking their pets to the shelter and abandoning their pets because they think that their dogs can give it to them, or they can give it to their dogs could be spreading it. No, there's no evidence to suggest that. And they're saying, don't abandon your pets. They're family. But you can practice a little bit of caution. So, let's see here. Okay, these include the Paris World Organization of Animal Health, the OIE, and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. So the CDC. So the CDC and the OIE, which have both stated that there is no evidence that companion animals such as cats and dogs can spread the virus. Quote, therefore, there is no justification in taking measures against companion animals which may compromise their welfare. I hope that sinks in, guys. Okay, here's a quote. Okay. Quote, the dog likely died from causes other than COVID-19, as it has never displayed any clinical signs of illness. Okay, so they're talking about the Pomeranian. But yeah. And isn't that interesting? The German Shepherd, the pure breed, tested positive, but the mixed breed, I've always said, mixed dogs, mutts, shoot, they can withstand everything. Seriously, it seems like a lot of the, pure breeds are a little more susceptible to genetic diseases and things like that. Okay. Lee says, I heard another grooming talking about it, and we should not be kissing and loving on them because we don't know if we're passing it back and forth. Yeah, and also, we don't know if we have it or not. We could have come in contact with this virus and just not be showing any signs of it, and we may not until 2 weeks later. And just in case we might be an unknowing carrier of this virus, coughing and things like that, and we're petting our dogs, it can live on their fur for a few hours, they're saying. Us mutts rocks the world. Nice. Okay, so I have to use the restroom. I gotta go number one. I think that I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I will not be grooming for the rest of the month, maybe into April. We just have to see how things develop. And I made that decision based on my unique situation. My older brother who lives with me is is one of the people at risk for this disease, and I made the decision based on my unique situation, and I don't want to come across as judgy or preachy or condescending or anything. Everyone needs to make their own decision about what to do based on your unique situation. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is just let's be kind to each other in a time like this. Let's not attack each other. And let's be considerate and kind to our fellow human beings. Let's use this opportunity to show history. Let the history books record that we chose to respond with kindness and consideration towards each other during this time. Let the record books show that when this global outbreak, this pandemic hit, just out of reflex, it was just a reflex response. We reacted with fear and panic, and we did panic buy, and we did clear the shelves of the toilet paper, and people did fight and behave in ways that they probably regret too. But let the record books show that once that happened, we caught ourselves and we chose to become more aware and more enlightened and not allow our thoughts to control us. We took this opportunity to finally gain control over our own thoughts and feelings. And we chose, in spite of our fears and in spite of the uncertainty and the anxiety that it caused us, we still chose to behave like human beings. And we chose humanity. We behaved, we treated each other humanely. Let us show the universe, the galaxy, whoever might be watching us, let's show them what it means to be a human being. Lee says, it's an individual choice. Nice. Lee says, I appreciate all YouTubers. All YouTubers I follow for putting up content because it helps so much with the loneliness. Awesome. CD says, I agree, Lee. Nice. Nice. I didn't consider that. Maybe I'll stream, just because here's the thing. And I think this is a great move on YouTube's part. Any YouTube video that has coronavirus or COVID-19 in the title, they automatically demonetized it. And I was thinking, such a great move. Because anyone talking about this right now should not be doing it for personal gain. They should not be allowed to monetize videos about the coronavirus or COVID-19 in a time like this, where they know that people are looking for information. People are looking for answers. And to try to take advantage of that for personal gain, I think is unethical. It's unethical. And I feel that, and that's my opinion, that's just my opinion. And I think that YouTube, Google made an excellent decision to automatically demonetize all videos talking about coronavirus. Excellent move. And that's why I put the, update of my business and I put coronavirus on my title because, yeah, I don't mind. I'm not doing this to try to make money or personal gain or anything. Really, this was just to express how I came to this decision because it was not easy. And honestly, I am a little worried about my financial future. However, because I went through so much worse, this feels like a walk in the park. It's almost like I was prepared for this with all my previous failures. Lee says, true, I didn't think of that. Yeah. So I think that was a great move on YouTube's part. But anyways, I have to pee so bad. I can taste it. I'm salivating. I have saliva like building up in my mouth. I gotta pee. So anyways, I'm gonna go run to the toilet. And I am going to destroy it. I'm going to urinate the crap out of it. But anyways, see you guys. I hope this was helpful. I doubt many people will make it to the end anyways, so it's all good. I gotta pee. See you, Lee. See you, CD. Bye, guys.